If you think this was just a quiet conversation behind the scenes, think again, because when Dylan Wang confronted Miles Wei over Shen Yue's proposal, everything shifted in an instant. There were no raised voices, no cameras rolling, and no official statements. Just tension so heavy that even those nearby could feel it. The timing felt strange, the expressions were serious, and when Dylan finally spoke, it was clear this wasn't casual advice. It felt like a warning. And once word leaked out about what Dylan Wang actually said, fans around the world stopped scrolling and started asking the same question. What was Shen Yue really being protected from? The moment didn't unfold on a stage or during a public event. It happened quietly, away from flashing lights and microphones. That silence is what made it powerful. According to people close to the situation, Dylan approached Miles Wei calmly, without drama or performance. His expression alone signaled that this conversation mattered. When Dylan mentioned Shen Yue's proposal, the atmosphere changed immediately. Miles stopped what he was doing. That brief pause became one of the most talked about details once fans learned about it, because pauses like that usually mean the conversation has crossed into serious territory. What shocked fans most wasn't anger or confrontation. Dylan didn't accuse, demand, or threaten. His words were steady, measured, and intentional. They kind of tone that comes from someone who has already lived through the consequences of public scrutiny. It sounded less like conflict and more like guidance shaped by experience. That's what made it land so heavily. Almost immediately, fans began asking the question no one could answer clearly. What exactly was Shen Yue's proposal? Some believe it involved a major career decision, possibly a project or collaboration that could change how the public sees her overnight. Others think it was something more personal, something that required trust and careful timing in an industry that rarely allows space for privacy. Whatever it was, one thing became obvious. This wasn't a small decision. Dylan's concern felt real, not hypothetical. It sounded like someone who understood how quickly good intentions can be misunderstood once the spotlight gets involved. Fans couldn't ignore the fact that Dylan Wang himself has spent years under intense scrutiny. Rumors, pressure, expectations, and misinterpretation are things he knows all too well. When someone with that experience speaks calmly instead of loudly, people tend to listen. And Miles Wei listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't defend himself. He didn't brush it off. He stayed quiet. That silence alone shocked fans. Those present said it lasted just long enough to feel heavy, the kind of silence that forces reflection. When Miles finally responded, it wasn't defensive. It wasn't dismissive. He nodded. That single nod sent shockwaves through the fandom, because nods mean acknowledgement, and acknowledgement means the message mattered. As the story spread, fans from Asia, the USA, Europe, Canada, and Australia began analyzing every detail they could find. They questioned the timing. They questioned why Shen Yue wasn't present. They questioned why this conversation happened privately instead of being handled through agencies or managers. Many fans noticed something else too. Dylan's tone didn't feel controlling or emotional. It felt protective. That word kept appearing again and again in fan discussions. Protective. Dylan didn't sound like someone trying to stop something. He sounded like someone trying to prevent regret. Some fans believe he was reminding Miles Wei that decisions involving Shen Yue wouldn't affect just one person. They would affect public narratives, media framing, and long-term perception. Others believe Dylan saw risks hidden beneath opportunity. Risks that look harmless at first, but become overwhelming once attention turns intense. There were also fans who felt the moment carried something deeper. Not romance, not rivalry, but responsibility. Responsibility to think beyond the present moment. Responsibility to consider consequences before excitement takes over. Responsibility that comes from knowing how unforgiving the industry can be. What made this moment unforgettable wasn't drama, it was restraint. There were no angry exchanges. No leaks filled with accusations. No online battles. Instead, there was maturity. Fans praised Dylan Wang for handling the situation with composure and respect. They admired Miles Wei for listening instead of reacting. And even though Shen Yue wasn't physically present, everything revolved around her. Fans pointed out that Shen Yue has always been known for her sincerity. She's seen as thoughtful, emotionally grounded, and careful with her choices. That's why the idea of her proposal being misunderstood or mishandled hit fans so deeply. Many said this moment revealed more about Dylan Wang's character than years of interviews ever could. Not as a celebrity, but as someone who understands influence and the responsibility that comes with it. What followed the confrontation made fans even more curious. There were no official statements, no clarifications, no denials, just silence. And that silence spoke louder than any press release ever could. Fans began noticing subtle changes, interactions that felt more cautious, timing that seemed deliberate, and conversations that suddenly became more careful. Some believe quiet adjustments were made behind the scenes. Others think the conversation simply planted a seed that would only show its impact later. Even now, fans are divided. Some believe Dylan was warning about industry pressure. Others think he was questioning the timing of Shen Yue's proposal. And some feel he was simply offering perspective, lessons learned from experience, delivered without ego. Maybe that's why this moment refuses to fade. Because not everything meaningful needs to be explained publicly. Some conversations are meant to stay private, understood by those involved, but felt by everyone watching from afar. Months later, fans are still talking about this moment, not because of scandal, but because of sincerity. In an industry driven by headlines and noise, this was a reminder that the most important decisions often happen quietly. No applause, no drama, just people choosing their words carefully because they understand the cost of not doing so. And that's why fans were shocked. Now it's your turn. What do you think Dylan Wang was really trying to say? Was this about protection, pressure, or something deeper that fans haven't considered yet? Share your thoughts in the comments. Fans around the world are still debating this moment, and your perspective might add something new to the conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the moments that quietly reshape CDrama history. Because sometimes the calmest conversations leave the strongest impact. And maybe that's the part no one is talking about enough. Because this wasn't a loud confrontation. It wasn't public. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. And that's exactly why it mattered. In an industry where every move is watched, every word is twisted, and every decision leaves a permanent mark. Sometimes the strongest protection doesn't come from shouting. It comes from someone stepping in calmly and saying just enough. What Dylan Wang said may never be fully revealed. What Shen Yue proposed may never be explained publicly. But the impact of that moment, fans felt it immediately. And now the question is yours to answer. Do you think Dylan was protecting Shen Yue? Warning about pressure? Or reminding everyone that some choices carry a cost long after the spotlight fades? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation doesn't end here. Your voice matters, and the fandom is still listening. If you don't want to miss the moments that quietly change everything in CDrama history, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because sometimes the stories that stay with us the longest are the ones told in a whisper.